Hi and welcome to today's video. Today I am going to start my Ford 1910 tractor up with a loader for the first time after it's been sitting here all winter. I didn't have a building to put it in, so I had to set it outside. One thing I did do before I started for the winter was I covered up the muffler, which is why there's a green bucket on it. So that keeps all the critters from crawling down the pipe. I also had done a fluid change on this. I changed the oils, I changed the hydraulic fluid. Before winter, I greased up all the cylinders, and any grease fittings I filled up. So on this tractor, the hydraulic fluid dipstick is right here on the base underneath the steering wheel. So make sure you get that cleaned off. There's dirt in it. Give it a good crank. Water on there. So pull out the dipstick, and it definitely has some nice clean hydraulic fluid on. One of the reasons I changed this fluid last year is the fluid that was in it when I purchased this tractor was milky white, which means it got water in it, which is a bad thing. So that's looking nice and clean and good to go on the hydraulic fluid. So up top, we have our fuel fill. So we just open this little guy up, undo that lid, look down inside, and you can see the fuel. So everything looks fine in there. And on the front is where the radiator fluid is. And that looks a little low. I should be able to see that fluid, and I don't, so I'm going to have to add some radiator fluid. The next fluid we need to check is the oil. It's on the other side of the tractor. We have the oil fill right here, and this is the dipstick. Pull this little dipstick out, again, nice and full. Get that in focus, and it's really clean because I basically ran this one day after I changed the oil and the hydraulic fluid. And you can see the starter and the starter solenoid there. Had to tighten up that connection last year. It was arcing on me. But it should be okay. We'll find out today. The next thing I need to check is under the hood. There's a air filter under there, and there's a screen that goes in front of the radiator. So for my tractor, I have to pull this pin out, and this arm swings out. And if you don't do that first, you will crack the front screen right into that guard. So I'm going to come down to this end. There's a little lock here, and it lifts right up. And it will sit right there. So right here is the air filter. Again, I changed this last year, and to get that off, you just click that. Click this side, and this piece pulls right off. And then there's a wing nut here. I think it's good to check this just to make sure a critter didn't get in here somehow. But it should be fine. It's a little tough to do with one hand. Okay, and then there's the air filter. So I do want to this year get a spacer to put in here to make this a little tighter. It's a little bit loose. Although that does press against it, but I wanted to have another nut here to hold this in the right spot. These are just some spacer nuts. I bought this filter and the hydraulic filter and the oil filter all on Amazon. Look at that. Nice and clean. If we look down inside there, there's no signs of any animals, so that's good. And you can see the filter itself is pretty darn clean. Again, it only had a day on it. Tough to get it in there with the loader in the way. So this is something I want to tweak a little bit this summer. How that holds that in place. This only goes on one way. There's a little key there at the top. Lines up with that. It keeps this slot, this hole here to let the air through at the top. I can't do that left-handed. That's nice and tight. And put the cover back on. There is on this cover, there's actually like a weep hole to let water out if it gets in there. So that goes to the bottom. And then again, there's a key at the top. So this key lines up with the other two right there. And just snap those back in place and it's back together. And underneath it, you can see there's the battery. I'm gonna guess when I start this, I might have to jump start it since I didn't unhook the battery last year. The other thing is, in the front here is a screen in front of the radiator. It's pretty clean. I'm not going to try to take it out. In order to get it out, you have to unhook that hose over there. But it looks, get in there, there's not much on it. It's pretty clean. After some brush hogging, it might be cleaned again. Just a quick little check. Here's the alternator. Now we've got our belt here. Belt looks good. It's nice and tight. That there is actually the hydraulic filter. The oil one is down lower. One thing I do want to do to this is add a core heater so it starts a little easier when it's cold. This is not going to start easy today, even with the glow plug. Alright, so for now I'm going to leave the front open, and I think we're ready to try to start this. Okay, I've got some antifreeze since we're low. It's easier to fill with the hood up. So just take our antifreeze here. Now this takes the green antifreeze. What I have here is universal, so it should be fine. Just going to pour it in there. Hopefully it doesn't take too much. About a quarter of a bottle. So now, when we look at our antifreeze here, we can see it is, you can see the fluid right there. That's what we want. So let's put our lid back on. And we're ready to try to start the tractor. Alright, so on these old Ford tractors, you really need to enter the tractor from the left side. There's a lot of pedals on the other side, so we're going to hop up here, grab the steering wheel, and sit down. So down right here is where the key goes. So you don't just turn these on. You got to push the clutch down, and then you move your throttle here. It's all the way up is stop, so you got to pull it down a little bit. I don't want to give it too much because it hasn't run in a long time. I don't want it roaring. And then on this key, what you actually do is you turn it backwards. You turn it counterclockwise and you hold it there. I usually hold it there for about a 20 count. Ideally, you would watch this glow plug spot and it would start to glow. This one's not working, so I can't do that. So I just basically hold the key for a little bit. And that should heat up the glow plugs that are in the engine and make it easier to start. At some point this summer, I'm going to actually check these out and make sure they really work. Alright, so let's try and see what happens. And it definitely needs jumped. So I'm going to hook up the battery jump box like I thought I'd have to. I've got my cables hooked up. Red goes to positive, black goes to negative. And I've got this little Viking junk box here. Got it turned on and see how it works. Back on the tractor. Same deal, we're going to do the glow plug again because it hasn't been very long. You also see over here the red lights come on too. Okay, let off of that, and those red lights actually went out. See a little puff of smoke coming out there. It does take a little while. Almost. Soon. Let her run for a couple minutes, nice and easy. See on the RPM, we're pretty low. So let's sit here for a minute or two and should be good to go. Get that battery pack off and close it up. You can already tell it's getting a little smoother. Okay, as the tractor's warming up here, I'm going to double check the 3-point hitch here, make sure it goes up and down okay. And then I actually need to hook up to my brush hog here and get it out of my way because I'm going to have to back out of where it is because it's a little muddy in the yard. have to back up a little bit and we can hook on. hooking up the PTO that goes